what is mindfulness? If anybody's new to mindfulness, it's something that's really sort of come into the Western world over the last sort of few years, probably since around 1990s, early 90s. It became more popular by John Kabat-Zinn. But it's really an ancient Buddhist practice. It's been practiced for many, many years. It's been practiced for decades. So the Buddhists used to practice meditation, which required you to focus on your breath or certain movement, etc. So it is something that's quite old in that sense, but it's been brought into the Western world more recently over the last few years, and it's becoming very, very popular now because there are clinical applications now. And John Kabat-Zinn has been a big sort of component there because he's brought this into the Western world. He developed these stress relief programs using mindfulness techniques, which are now accepted and fully used within clinical practices. So there's now this science behind it, where they've been able to sort of measure people's reactions to mindfulness and meditation experiences, etc. So through things like MRI imaging, etc., so you can see how the brain and the physiology in a person is physically changing through these shifts in states through meditation and mindfulness. So John Kabat-Zinn put mindfulness in this way. It's a way of paying attention on purpose in the present moment and non-judgmentally to whatever arises in your field of experience. So this will apply completely to trading. Every day when you trade, or even if you're a swing trader, this will be applicable. It's also applicable very much to just everyday life. So another way to put this is, I got this from Wikipedia. Mindfulness is the intentional accepting and non-judgmental focus of one's attention on the emotions, thoughts and sensations occurring in the present moment. So what you'll find is they are very similar sort of statements, but they've sort of expressed it in a slightly different way. But the key point here is being present, non-judgmentally. So you're present, you're completely embraced in what's going on right now, but you're not judging the experience. You're sort of just witnessing, you're observing that situation. Whatever the experience may bring your way, you just witness and observe, but you don't judge. And this is absolutely essential in my opinion and experience with as a trader. I've learned that being in this way every single day, it really, really helps to deal with some of the obstacles that most of us as traders have to deal with. So the mind in general, in all human beings, not just traders, all human beings, has a strong tendency to wander to the past and to the future. And basically as traders, what happens is that you have to sort of tackle this, because there's not many jobs or activities that you really will practice that will challenge your ability to be in the moment and actually be completely present. But trading will make you refer to that on a consistent basis, because every time you don't follow your plan, every time you do something that is outside of your plan due to fear, anxiety or doubt, it will typically be related to the past or the future, not to the now. Because if you're trading in the now, in the present moment, you're trading your plan. And if your plan is clear enough, you should know what you got to do. But what happens for a human being, a typical trader, is that they start thinking about what happened yesterday, what happened last week, what happened last year when they lost like 10 grand or 20% of their account in one day. What might happen in the future? Might it happen again? So all the fear, the anxiety, the doubt is related to either the past or the future. So what mindfulness training allows for you to develop in a way is basically the ability to notice that your mind and your focus, your attention shifts away from the moment right now, and it shifts to the past, the future, etc. Now typically for the mindless person, the person that is not aware or conscious enough, they typically don't realize this. They will just sort of be on autopilot. So that brings me on to the next step. What is mindlessness? Well, mindlessness is the opposite of mindfulness. Mindlessness is living on autopilot. And really the majority are mindless. They lack self-awareness. They lack the ability to be conscious right now, completely conscious, and be fully aware of what's going on right now, not only externally, but internally as well, what's happening within themselves. Okay? So I've got a remark saying they can't hear too well here. So let me just try and turn my mic off and back on. Okay. Alright, so the sound is good. So let me just continue here. So the majority are pretty much mindless, and don't take this offensively. This is basically something you have to realize, and you just have to wake up to it. You have to say, look, whenever I make mistakes and I don't follow my plan, I am mindless. I basically lack self-consciousness. I lack self-awareness. I'm doing things that I shouldn't be doing. Nearly every trader that I've worked with over the last 10 years has had to get through this issue, get over this obstacle. I myself included, it is very, very common, and we all have to go through it. It's not something that some people do and some people don't. Everybody goes through it. Some people to a greater extent than others, that's all. But everyone as a trader will recognize this, and they have to get through it. Everyone as a trader is going to realize that they have a plan, and sometimes they can follow it, sometimes they can't. Now, I'm at a place right now where I will trade my plan and nothing else. I know that's going to happen. It's unlikely, completely unlikely that I'm going to trade anything else, because I'm geared up in such a way where I've practiced this mindfulness technique. I'm so aware that nothing else can happen. It's got to be that. But many traders that I work with are not clear with their plan. It's not very concise. So they're not really sure what they got to do in the first place. But when they do start trading, even if they do have a good plan and they know what they got to wait for some reason, they decide to do something outside the plan. Whether this is mechanical, whether it's discretionary, it does not matter. It happens for everyone. So the issue is being mindless. That people are mindless in general as human beings, but in trading, you have to sort of wake up to that fact, and you have to recognize it, and you have to do something about it. So what happens when you're mindless? You're typically governed by your past conditioning of thoughts, beliefs, emotional responses, and behaviors. So this would be past experiences. You might have had a bad day when you was trading a certain product. You might have had a bad experience where you lost a lot of money. You might have had an experience where something else happened, like, in childhood. You might have experienced a situation where you might have been bullied, or, you had a lot of anxiety. You might have had a fearful response in the past, not even related to trading, but this can show up because in trading, a lot of the deeply embedded thoughts, beliefs, behaviors, they are from past experiences. So that being in the past will lead sometimes to something that you don't want to do right now. And it's very, very difficult to sort of highlight exactly what caused it when it's a very deeply embedded past emotional experience that causes you to behave in such a way right now. But nevertheless, it is something that happened in the past. It's something that happened in the past, and it's a past experience. Now, not being present allows for someone to lose their thoughts to the past or the future. So you will either sit there and think about what happened last week, what happened yesterday, what happened in the last trade, or what might happen tomorrow, what might happen at the end of today. So rather than being right now, in the moment, in the present, traders have this tendency, just as normal human beings, this is just a human being response. It's a natural way to be. This is why traders, as human beings, anybody that gets into trading goes through the same journey. They go through the same issues and obstacles. Everybody goes through it. It's nothing that somebody can decide to go through or jump or miss, because everybody will go through it, me included. Some people more so than others, that's all. Being reactionary and dominated by mindless habits and patterns. This is basically, if you've ever had a situation where you know exactly what you got to do, but you just do something stupid, like you're looking for a long, but the market starts selling off very quickly, and you just chase the market and you start shorting, and then 2 or 3 hours later, you review that and you think, what the hell was I doing? I shouldn't have even been looking for a short, but I started to get short because you got tied up with what was happening in terms of the market responses. You got reactionary. So the only thing you should react to as a trader is your plan, not the market. You should never react to the market. You should always react to your plan. So the plan has to be very clear. Now, if you're going to practice mindfulness is a very simple exercise, really. It's nothing difficult. We do it all the time. We just don't realize it. Okay? The difference between mindfulness and just being is that when you do something mindfully, you actually just focus your attention on that. And you actually become aware when your attention moves elsewhere. So it's very much like meditation. Mindfulness is simply a form of mental training. It's very much like going to the gym, doing, like weight training, or going on the treadmill and, doing a run for 30 minutes. It's the same thing. It's just it's a mental training exercise. Whereas if you go to the gym, it's a physical exercise, but it does also have a knock-on effect on your mental and emotional state. If you go to the gym, you automatically feel better because you now have certain hormones and certain chemicals running through your body that were not there before. So this is all very much linked. What happens psychologically in your mind also has a knock-on effect on your body. Whatever happens in your body and chemically in your body as a reaction, like your heart rate, your blood pressure, etc. If you become anxious, your blood pressure will either increase, decrease, but your heart rate, typically if you're fearful or you're being more anxious, your heart rate is going to increase. So your physiology and your psychology is very much connected. So mindfulness can really help you sort of become aware of how your physiology is connected to your psychology. So US Marines used to call it mind fitness. It's something that US Marines have been practicing for many years now. Mindfulness is also a skill and a habit that must be formed over time with practice. What I mean by that is that if you just do it like once or twice, it's not going to help. Because I'm going to go through some exercises right now, but if you don't practice them consistently, it's no good. It's like going to the gym and doing a bench press, which, if anybody doesn't know, it's basically an exercise which works out your upper torso, your chest, also works out your shoulders and your arms. But it's an exercise which, if you do on a consistent basis, like once or twice a week, your chest and your muscles can grow if you feed them well. But if you just do that exercise once a month, once every 2 months, it's going to do nothing for you. So, it's just like if you go to the gym and you do a workout on the treadmill, you do a 30-minute jog or run. If you do that once a month, probably not going to do much, But if you do it once every 2 or 3 days, it's probably going to be beneficial. So mindfulness and meditation is very much the same. If you just practice it once, don't expect miracles. It's not going to do much at all. You might feel relaxed, you might feel better for that, those few minutes afterwards for that day, but the next day, you're just going to go back to the normal way of being. So mindfulness and meditation has to be done consistently. Okay, so the good thing about mindfulness techniques in comparison to meditation, typical meditation, is meditation typically is taught, as a technique which you have to do for like 15-20 minutes, which is very difficult for most people to commit to. But as a mindfulness technique, you can basically do this for like 2 or 3 minutes, 4 minutes, that's all you need. So if you practice mindfulness, it's very, very straightforward and you can do it anywhere, but you must commit. You must commit to this. So a short 3 to 4 minute technique that helps you practice being more mindful, more aware is all you need. Mindfulness will allow you to be more situationally aware. So in any situation, you become more aware of what's going on, not only externally, but also internally. What's going on in your body? What are you thinking? Your thoughts? What are your feelings like? Is your heart rate elevated? Is it a little bit more relaxed? Are you feeling in any shape or form more anxious, more fearful, doubtful? Or are you feeling confident? Do you believe in what you are experiencing right now? Do you believe in your plan? So you can become a hell of a lot more intuitive because you can reference how you feel right now in the moment. So this is very, very important when it comes to trading. Every day I refer to how I feel. If I don't feel good about a trade, I'm not going to take it because I don't feel good for a reason. If I have doubt, fear, anxiety, it's there for a reason. Now, a lot of traders talk about like becoming emotionless, pretending you don't have fear, pretending you don't have anxiety, pretending you don't have doubt because you just have to follow the system, you just have to follow these rules and that's it. Pretend you're a robot. And the reason it doesn't work for most people is because you're not a robot. You are human. And as long as you remain human, you're going to have feelings. You're going to have emotions. You're going to have fear. You're going to have doubt. You're going to have anxiety. But at the same time, you're also going to have belief, confidence. And you can also allow for yourself, if you know how to, overshadow your doubt, your fear, your anxiety. Because if you feel more belief, more confidence in your current decision, your choice to trade a certain situation, and it overshadows that doubt, that fear and anxiety, that means it's a good idea. But if your doubt, that fear, that anxiety is stronger, it's there for a reason, because you're missing something or you don't understand something about the situation right now. So in discretionary trading, understanding is absolutely essential. That's what I practice. I have to understand where I am, what I want to do, and I also have to be aware of what my plan is set up to do. So I be very much aware of where I want to buy, where I want to sell, exact prices, and I will only engage in the market at those times. But when I get there, I'm already set up for belief and confidence, because I'm only engaging in trades that I actually believe in the first place. But most traders will come into the marketplace, they will wait for the market to open, and they just start trading. It's like a race. It's like a 100-meter sprint, because once that bell goes and the opening bell sounded, most traders just jump in and they think, well, I got to get in because I'm going to miss something if I don't. Now, this fear of missing out is a major obstacle, and this is one of the key things that most mindless traders react to. They react to the market. They react to fast movements. They react because the market's open. They react because there's a reaction to a number. But these are the things that really mess traders up, because this is when the market is pulling your strings. This is when you lose yourself. This is when you become mindless, because you're no longer making choices and decisions that make sense. You're actually sort of being guided by some other force. And this is when you lose yourself. So you've got to be mindful, completely mindful about your plan. What is it specifically you are interested in? You've got to be very mindful about when you diverge away from that plan. And you can practice this, just like building a bicep, just like building your chest muscles, just like building your leg muscles. You can build this ability to be more attentive, you can be more aware, you can be more mindful to whatever your plan is. So you will become more attentive and develop the ability to increase your feel in the moment if you become more mindful. So let's go through an exercise. Exercise 1 is about focusing on the gap. Now, every day as human beings, you will breathe. Okay? Now, you can try to judge that, or you can try to sort of say you don't, but I'm sure as a human being you will. Okay? You're going to breathe. You're going to breathe, and you're going to breathe every day, sometimes, and most of the time, unconsciously. You're not thinking about breathing. You know, most of you are sitting here right now listening, but you're not thinking about breathing. You're not thinking about having a heartbeat. You're not thinking about the feeling in your left foot right now, which you was not consciously aware of until I told you, right? You're not thinking about that, but it's there, okay? And the thing is, every day we go about doing business and we get tied up with what's going on around us in the outside experience, the external world. But we lose that connection to what's going on internally, which is really what you want to always be aware of. Because whenever you do stupid things and every time you trade outside your plan, it's because of what happened internally, not externally. It's something that took over internally, which is making you do things you shouldn't be doing. So now we're going to focus on something that everyone does. They breathe every day. So what I want you guys to do, go through this exercise right now, and what I want you to do is just sit comfortably and relax. Sitting upright in a chair with a straight back, with your palms resting face up on your thighs, okay? Just be very comfortable and relaxed. Then slowly close your eyes and begin to take some deep breaths. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And as you do, pay attention to this and become mindful of what you are actually doing right now. Breathing in through the nose, breathing out through your mouth. Do this at a very relaxed pace and approximate count about 4 to 5 seconds in and also out. Make sure it's comfortable for you. If you need to breathe in longer and breathe out lesser or longer, just do so. Just make it comfortable for yourself, but breathe in fully and through the nose and breathe out through your mouth. And pay attention to that. Okay, so now I want you to raise your awareness and bring it to the moment where your in-breath changes to the out-breath. Or your out-breath turns to the in-breath. So there's that moment, there's that gap where breathing in turns to breathing out, and breathing out turns to breathing in. But there's a gap. There's a gap in between. Now focus on that gap and bring your attention to that gap. And if your mind begins to wander, just bring your attention back. If you start thinking about what happened yesterday or what's going to happen tomorrow, or you might actually experience some feelings where you think, okay, well, let's just get this done. I'm getting bored. Now become aware of that and bring your attention back to the gap. Bring your attention back to the breath. Because your mind will wander. Naturally, it's going to wander. But you've got to train your muscle. You've got to train your mind to come back to that moment. To the breath. And that gap between the in-breath and the out-breath. Focus on that. Okay, that's it. So now, when you're ready, open your eyes and come back into the room. Okay, so that's a very simple mindfulness technique. Okay, it's not complex, but the thing is, what you're doing there is you're practicing bringing your attention and your focus to something very simple, which we do every day, okay, which is breathing. Now, most of us don't take the time every day to focus our attention and bring our awareness to our breath because it's just happening, right? But this is the same thing when you're trading. Like most of the time, if you're doing things you don't want to do, it is just happening. It's basically autopilot. If you're doing things you don't want to do, it's because your subconscious, your unconscious mind is making you do those things because you're consciously not making those decisions. So it's the same thing when you're breathing. You're breathing every day, subconsciously, unconsciously, but you're not having to sit there. You're not having to sit there and make those conscious decisions to breathe in, to breathe out. It's just happening. Same thing happens when you're trading. So what you're doing when you bring your attention to your breath, even if it's for like 2 to 3 minutes every day, do it every morning, do it every evening. That's it. Just commit to that. But what you start to do is build what they refer to in mindfulness, and now that the science is proving this, is they've realized that the brain is very much like a muscle, okay? And there is a thing known as neuroplasticity, right? Google it if you have to, neuroplasticity, okay? The mind, it grows and it expands, and these new pathways, these new neuro pathways are created every time you practice certain techniques, certain habits. So as this happens, in a way, your mind is expanding. It's becoming more and more conscious. It's becoming more and more aware. And every day you do this, it expands more and more. So you do it for 1 month. You do it for 2 months. It's going to improve. And then by the time you've done this for 12 months, 2 years, your consciousness, your awareness is going to be on a completely different level. Right? And I realize this myself because I'm in a place where I'll be doing this for a very, very long time, but I've committed to this. But many traders have these issues, these obstacles where they can't do what they need to do. And I have to remind myself, like, you know, this is where I used to be, but I've trained myself to get out of this mindset where I'm mindless. I've actually become more conscious. I've become more aware. And because of that, it's not a question about if I'm going to follow my plan. It's just going to happen. It's not something that's, for me, taking a trade outside the plan is just not going to happen. because I'm very aware of what I am doing. I'm very aware of every choice and decision I make. But many traders, if you are that mindful, if you are that conscious, you should not be taking trades you shouldn't be taking. It's that simple. So exercise 2, this is a little bit different, but let's just practice this. Find a space. If you can stand up, this will be better. If you can't, that's fine. You can do it sitting down. So find a space to stand. If you can't stand, just sit down. But just have enough space for you to raise your arms. Now you don't have to close your eyes for this one. You can if you like, but you don't have to. Now raise your arms slowly to the side of you. But as you do, pay full attention to the feelings, the sensations in your body, in your arms, as you move your arms up. And again, if your mind starts to wander, bring your attention back to the movement. Now raise your arms from the side to above your head. Again, paying attention to the sense of the movement. Notice the muscles stretching. Notice any sensations in your forearm, your hands, your arms, your shoulders. Just pay attention. Now stretch as if you're attempting to touch the ceiling, and stretch and stretch. Now pay very close attention to the feelings of stretching. Notice how your muscles are stretching. Notice how it feels different. Pay attention to your hands, your forearms, your arms, your shoulders. Now, whilst maintaining this stretch, notice what happens to your breathing. Has your breathing changed? Then slowly bring your arms back down to your side and back where they were. So slowly, mindfully lower your arms. And again, notice the changes in your sensations in the body. So notice the changes in the muscles. Notice how your breathing changes again. So again, this is a very simple exercise. Okay? But what you're doing is something that you do every day, but you do it subconsciously, unconsciously. You move your body, you breathe. Okay? But it's a very simple exercise. It's not complicated. But what you're doing here is you're training your mind on a day-to-day basis, just 2 or 3 minutes a day. That's all you need. And you're basically training your mind to be in the moment, but focusing on a specific technique. Isn't that what we need as traders? We have to specifically focus on executing a plan and trade that plan. But what is the biggest issue? Discipline. Following the plan. But why? Because most of us are mindless. That's what it is. But if you're mindful, if you're fully aware of what you are doing right now, it should never happen. Should never happen. So if you build this muscle, you have to build this muscle. If you build this muscle to be consciously aware of what's happening subconsciously, unconsciously, you will then become more and more aware day by day, month by month, year by year. And as you do, you will get to a situation where you would never take trades outside your plan. I can assure you that, but you have to commit to it. It depends on how much it means to you, because I've worked with traders over the years which, meditation, mindfulness techniques, anything that I share with them, has sometimes not been that important to them. It's not sort of matched their values. And that really matters, because if something's not important to you, you don't see the benefit of it, you won't commit to it. If, for example, if I want to go to the gym and I want to diet or, to lose weight or to add muscle, I have to commit to a certain diet plan. I can't lose weight or lose fat if I don't commit to a certain plan for long enough. I can't just diet for one day and expect to lose pounds. I can't just diet for like 1 week and expect to lose weight. I have to do it consistently, maybe 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and I will get results. But the point is, I'm committing to something. I'm committing to a certain routine, a certain discipline. If you want to add muscle, you have to do certain techniques. If you want to grow your arms, you have to do bicep curls. You have to do tricep extensions. You have to train that muscle, but then you have to feed that muscle. But if you train that muscle once a month, nothing's going to happen. Your brain is the same. If you're not mindful enough and you're doing things that you shouldn't be doing, It's because you haven't trained yourself to be completely embraced in the present moment. And now this is the thing, not many jobs, not many activities that you will commit to are going to really require this sense of presence, this ability to be right in the moment. Like trading is going to really push you to the limits. Nothing else really pushes you in the same way. So that's why trading is so difficult for most people, because unfortunately many are controlled subconsciously, unconsciously, by mindless behaviors, reactions, which are just happening, and they just can't understand why. So now, next step, because I haven't got a lot of time, meditation. Now, meditation and mindfulness for me is exactly the same thing, because when you practice mindfulness, you're sort of getting into a meditative state. When you practice meditation, you are actually practicing being mindful. So what I put here is more mindful equals raised awareness. So if you become more mindful, you basically become more aware. So you raise your awareness. And that for me means higher consciousness. So we are conscious, but we are also very much controlled by our subconscious and unconscious. That's looking after our body, it's keeping us alive, it's what puts us to sleep at night, it gets us up in the morning, it's what basically keeps our heart beating, it keeps our blood pumping through our body. Our subconscious, our unconscious. So we trust in it every day. But your unconscious is also going to play a part when you do anything else, whether it's trading, whether it's playing sport, anything else. It's also going to play a part. So, the higher consciousness really sort of, in a way, allows for you to become more aware and more conscious of what's going on subconsciously, unconsciously, right? So regular meditation practice raises your self-awareness and your ability to be more mindful in the moment. Ray Dalio, if anybody's not heard of him, you can Google him. He's a very, very successful person in the trading industry. He runs a probably much bigger than that right now, but $130 billion hedge fund firm, Bridgewater Associates. And he said this in an interview with Georgetown University. He said, meditation more than anything in my life was the biggest ingredient for whatever success I've had. And for me, I pretty much say the same thing. The reason is because I have to look at myself and I have to understand how I have grown and how I have developed the mindset that I have in comparison to the people that I'm trying to help. And whilst I'm in a different place right now than I was 10 years ago, I was still developing. I have to say now, meditation, mindfulness, being mindful, being more and more consciously aware every single day is the biggest ingredient. It doesn't matter strategy, it doesn't matter what strategy I have. My strategy is a product and development of my ability to be mindful, more aware, because my trading framework is very, very unique. It is what's become because my mindset. My mindset has developed my strategy. Whereas most traders try to allow for their strategy to create themselves as traders, and then they look to work on their mindset. But my mindset has been the key ingredient all the way, and it still continues to be. So, that's why I can share these words, what I call words of wisdom, with you guys in a very confident manner, but also understand and believe that it doesn't matter what you trade and how you trade, it's going to make sense to you and it's going to apply to you as long as you're trading and as long as you're human, right? So it's going to apply. So to overcome these obstacles that traders face, we need to become more and more self-aware, more mindful, more conscious. Not only of what's going on outside of us externally, but what's going on internally, our feelings. What are our feelings telling us? Don't try to sit there and think, you can be emotionless and not have feelings. You're going to have feelings as long as you remain human, until that day comes when you're not a human being, you're going to have feelings, you're going to have emotions. So don't pretend you don't have them. Consider some research practice with guided meditations, yoga and qigong. These are things that I practice myself. YouTube is a fantastic resource for guided meditations and isochronic technology, binaural beats and things like that. Guided meditations they're available in abundance on YouTube. You can check out some talks by John Kabat-Zinn. Search mindfulness, search meditation. Just investigate. Now, this is something that's very, very applicable to traders. Okay, it's going to make a lot of sense to you guys when I explain this. There's 4 key skills we need as traders, but it's also 4 key skills that you need to be able to practice mindfulness and meditation as well. Okay, so let me just get through these. Number one, the skill of placing the mind where you want it to be. So in the techniques we just practiced, we try to bring the mind and the focus and the attention to the breath. Okay, so in brackets I put here, I will focus on the sensation of my breath, or the gap, or it could be the the movement of the arms. Number two, the skill of keeping the mind where you want it to be, because some of you, when we did those exercises, you would have realized that your mind wanted to think about something else, wanted to put its attention on something else. So that is something that's showing you that your mind is starting to wander. But what you have to do is, on a very consistent basis, control that. Because when your mind wanders to the past and the future and start thinking about anything else apart from what's going on right now and what you should be focusing on, that's when you're going to have your issues in your trading. That's when you're going to trade outside your plan. So number two, keep your attention on your trading, executing your plan, or with a mindfulness technique, your breathing. Number three, the skill of sensing when your mind is not where you want it to be. So it should be on the gap between the breath. It should be on your arms, moving higher and above your head. But all of a sudden your mind thinking about, what am I going to do tomorrow? I wonder what's going to happen in the mini Dow tomorrow. How can I forget about the loss that I had yesterday? So your mind starts wandering. So the skill of sensing, so you're going to sense, your mind's going to try to move. It's going to happen, right? A lot of people that get into meditation, they say, I can't meditate because I keep thinking about what happened yesterday. My mind keeps wandering, it keeps thinking. It's going to keep happening until you master that. Okay, so this is what I struggled with when I got into meditation. I used to sit there for 20 minutes and I just think for 20 minutes. And that's not meditation. I did that for years. And then I realized that when I was meditating, I should have been controlling my ability to be able to keep my focus on the exercise, the actual breathing that I was trying to do, or the guided meditation is talking to me. I should have been focusing on that, but my mind was wandering. So that is not really meditation. You're sitting there, but you're not meditating. So, you have to focus your attention and practice bringing it into the now. Number four, the skill of detaching the mind from where you don't want it to be. I realize I don't want my mind to be where it has wandered to, and I refocus my sensations on breathing. So this is what happened, in a typical trader's, let's say a day trader's lifestyle. Like tomorrow, they might get up, they create a plan, they know what they got to do, but all of a sudden they take a trade short when they should be focusing long. They know that they shouldn't have taken the short, but they should be focused on the long. So what they do is they realize, wait a minute, I didn't want my mind, I didn't want to bring my attention to getting short, but I did. Okay, so what you will notice is, whilst sometimes you're going to make the mistake, you're going to get short when you shouldn't, when you practice this, you're going to sort of see yourself, you're going to catch yourself thinking about the short. You're going to be thinking about getting short when you know you should be focusing long, but you're not going to do it. So what you do is you witness and observe the thing, the sensation, the feeling that precedes, the thought that precedes the action, the behavior. You witness it, you observe it, and you don't react. And that's the beauty of this. This is what happens on a day-to-day basis. I will notice the reaction. I will notice the tap on my shoulder from the ego, right? And I would notice it, but I won't react. And that's the difference. It's not that myself or any other trader that is successful doesn't have emotions. They don't have these temptations from the ego to do things they shouldn't do. They are there every day. But the difference is, I don't react to them. And the other traders that make it and that remain successful, they don't react to it. They witness it, they observe it, but don't react. And that's the difference. It's not pretending like we don't have it or it's not going to happen, So I'm pretty much done there. There's more information here, Ella. So free training archive at thetradingfamily.com. Please check that out if you can. So you can go there, some free videos. Send me an email, info@thetradingfamily.com. If you want to know more about developing your mindset as a trader, you can check out the Peak Trading Performance Program on the website at thetradingfamily.com as well. So I'm done there. Thanks, Ella.